It did feel, however, not that long ago, that there was a deal on the table that looked like you could agree to. And then, for some reason, and you might be able to explain a little bit more about this, you know, the rail delivery group had to stick in quotes, had to stick in parts about driver-only operation. Now, had that not happened, do you think that there would have been a deal done and strikes averted?
Well, I was in very intensive negotiations with the train operating companies, and they had removed clauses about driver-only operation. And on the Sunday a couple of weeks ago, they were going to put to me a set of proposals with a pay package, which would have been better than one they actually ended up proposing, and with some changes which I've said will be challenging for our union, that we could have then developed and put to our people. At the last minute, the DFT, which I think with the imposition of the Treasury and others in government, decided to put into their driver-only operation, which the executives in this industry and the entire industry knows the RMT can never accept. So if you're looking for a compromise, you don't put things into a package that you know your counterpart can never accept as a red line and as a principle.
Indeed.
We don't do that to the employers. We don't demand things that they can never give us. We only request for things that are capable of being delivered. So it's the imposition of the government that has caused the non-development of a deal and the non-development of a set of proposals that we can all work with.
You can't claim you didn't see the splash on Monday in the Daily Telegraph claiming number 10 at the last minute has added driver-only trains as an issue to this dispute. Was that report incorrect?
Well, I was specifically talking, Mr Morris asked me a question about a report today, which I haven't seen.
It was on Monday.
On the general
The
point,
Secretary of State, did you not see this report, and is it true?
No, I've been very clear that we've... I was asked to facilitate a new offer.
Driver-only trains being introduced by the number 10 or the Treasury at the last minute. It wasn't on the table before.
On reform, we're very clear.
No, answer the question.
We're very clear we need to see reform.
The question.
On the specifics about detailed negotiations are taking place between employers and trade unions. It's not the government's role to micromanage the detail of the reform. But we've been clear that we do need to see workforce
operators
reform.
and the unions both say that this issue has been inserted in the last week by number 10 or the Treasury, which has scuppered a deal that was on the table.
Well,
that is what both the train operators and the unions
just
have told
on that
us.
point about scuppering a deal, when that was already on the table, when I met Mr Lynch, he made it very clear to me that he hadn't had an offer on the train operating side of the House. There had been an offer on Network Rail. I met with the trade unions. I was asked to facilitate an improvement. We then saw...
That wasn't my question. You're not answering the question.
No, I am telling you what's been going on. There was then an improved offer to the unions from Network Rail, and an offer then came on the train operating side of the House that the unions could consider. I regret that they rejected that offer. I think it would have been better if they'd continued talking to try and hammer out some detail.
You say you didn't block a better pay deal, but has the Treasury put parameters on the limits of a potential pay deal?
Well, look, as I said,
Yes.
I've got to think about the wider taxpayer. A fair and reasonable offer has been made with reform. No, look, this is about dealing with reform and also a pay offer. And I met with the unions. An improved pay offer was made. But there isn't a bottomless pit of taxpayers' money. We've got to have a sustainable rail industry.
So,
We've got to have a pay rise that's fair to the workers in the industry, but also one that's fair to taxpayers. There isn't a bottomless pit of money to pay increased salaries. I think there's a fair offer on the table, fair to taxpayers and fair to the people that work in the industry.
Did you or did you not instruct the rail delivery group to insert clauses into the offer document regarding driver-only operation, trains without guards on them?
The reform of the rail industry has been on the table from the very beginning. And
so can you just answer that question? Did you direct the rail recovery group to put in driver-only operation into the document, into the offer document?
No, the detailed negotiations between the employers and the trade unions are between them. The overall amount of money available obviously is something that I have to set. So the detail is up to them. The driver-only trains are not a new thing. They've been running since the 1980s. 80s.
And
over half
have been opposed by every single union representing rail workers since time immemorial. If that is not a wrecking amendment, I don't know what is.
But the reason Mark Harper won't answer that question, he wouldn't answer it at the Transport Select Committee, and he won't answer it in the media, is because he's done it. So if he avoids the question, he won't have to come up with the answer, is that he intervened. And if you had one of the railway executives with you or in a private conversation, they will tell you, as they've told me directly, that the government intervened with a set of proposals that they know cannot be acceptable because they want these strikes to go ahead. The same way that they're treating the nurses yesterday, they won't even discuss their pay. They're making enemies of working people, they're making enemies of trade unions, and they're making enemies of the public, I think, because this is a campaign of disruption brought around through Rishi Sunak's attitude, Chancellor Hunt's attitude, which is to make working people poorer and to maintain the living standards of the rich. That's what it's about at the end of the day. And they've got to come off that position and get to a decent set of proposals that we can all compromise on and get a settlement to. There is an opportunity to develop solutions, but the government, I'm afraid, is preventing that from happening. I've just heard Hugh Merriman talking about a very generous offer. It's not generous, it's way below inflation. And it's predicated on a set of changes, cuts to the maintenance schedule task by 50%, and conditions changes on our members in Network Rail that are entirely unacceptable. It's also predicated on shutting every booking office in Britain and bringing in driver-only operation that they know we will never accept. So the art of negotiation is getting to a position where both sides can accept a deal, and the government, the DFT, and I think all the way up to number 10 has put conditions in the train operating companies they know that will blow up any chance of a deal. The rail executives know that. Andrew Haynes from Network Rail knows what he's got to do, but I don't think they're being allowed to do that.
Is he lying when he said that he went in on Sunday and the rail delivery group were instructed by the DFT to put in driver-only operation? Is he lying or not?
I haven't been involved in the detailed negotiations between the train operating companies and the trade unions. That's for them to deal with. I haven't been doing that. I made sure there was an offer on the table which I think should be accepted, and reform of how the railways operate, 7-day working, all of the other things, it's been on the table from the very beginning.